Hey, this is Russ from the Infectious Groove podcast. Thanks for checking out our interview. Please hit the like button and remember to subscribe, share, and leave us a comment. You can also find and subscribe to the Infectious Groove podcast on your favorite podcast provider. Then check back with us on YouTube for a new vinyl video every Thursday. Now, here's the interview. Thank you so much for taking the time, Guy. I really appreciate it.
That's all right. I'm sorry I've found myself busier than I thought, though quite doing what, I'm not sure.
Well, I've been watching a lot of your series, Lockdown Licks, on YouTube.
Right.
And, you know, you're not the first musician that we've talked to that is finding a way to keep busy during all of this. One of your recent comments on one of your Lockdown Licks was that you're amongst the group of people who's going to be the last to go back to work.
That's right. That's us.
Yeah. But I do like that every musician we've talked to is finding some creative way. Are you really enjoying the Lockdown Licks? Like, is it a way to give back and get feedback that you wouldn't get?
Yeah. I mean, because I was trying to think because at the start of lockdown, I just wanted to, give something. I just wanted to have something to offer people, and people suggested doing bass lessons, and I thought, I can't do that. I just find all that stuff really boring, and because I'm not really a trained player or anything, I wouldn't really know what to do. And I just thought, actually, would be fun for something that'd be fun for me as much as anyone else is to go and revisit, sort of my catalogue, and also because it involves just storytelling, which is for me as much of the fun as this. But I've discovered an awful lot about myself. It's a fantastic way of it's like reading diaries when you're a kid.
So I was going to ask you that. Does it feel like, because you have, let's do a shameless plug here. You have your book, My Bass and Other Animals, and you've done your stand-up shows.
Book. You can plug that. Yeah.
Is it, in some ways, is it like, oh, let me just trot out this old story again, or is it fun remembering a lot of those things, or maybe other details?
It's fun. I mean, the stuff like, there's stuff like kind of the Madonna and Michael Jackson stuff. I was really happy to get that out of the way because, there's stories I've told a million times.
Sure.
And but a lot of it is, I've had really, and some of it actually becomes quite emotional when the whole thing revisiting Kirsty MacColl, making me think about her, and what was so nice was so many people from back then kind of reached out and you can't say reached out unless you remember the Four Tops. But like Steve Lillywhite got in touch, John Bruff, the old engineer, and it was really, this kind of created this worldwide network of warmth and remembering of Kirsty, and that was that to me was really special.
Yeah.
So, as opposed to just offering a fucking service to the bass players in Pink Floyd tribute bands. Yeah. Oh, guys! Please, when you play the C,
I had to laugh. I just watched last night the one where I forget what the other song was, but you covered a little bit about One of These Days with Pink Floyd, and I promise I'm not trying to poke any sort of fun, but I've never been a bass player myself, and years ago, it was very spur of the moment. Somebody in a cover band says, hey, we want to do One of These Days, and I figured it out kind of on the spot, because like you said in your video, the song kind of teaches you how to play it.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And so I found it humorous that people were like, hey, show us how to play that, and you were just like, well, there's nothing to it.
No, there really isn't. But and it was, because it was literally written. It's classic sort of Pink Floyd pragmatism, which is the reason it starts with those two notes. Is so that when you're playing live, you know what the delay time is.
Right.
And then you've just got to play that fucking note, man. I mean, come on.
Yeah. I do like what you were doing on the 94 tour Incense, though, with like in the middle of the song and that's just kind of make it up as you go along. Yeah.
Well, I mean, all those things are sort of make it up as you go along, but it never stays make it up as you go along. You always settle into something.
Right. Yeah. Like again, the lead that you do at the beginning of Sorrow. The video that I watched, you just kind of did it once and then it stuck with you.
And it's quite funny that because Pink Floyd fans are the kind of greatest anoraks in the world, and so what's funny is if you mess with anything, it's like you can imagine the villagers with flaming pitchforks coming up.
Oh yeah.
But then the funny thing is, now there's stuff I've been doing, so that now there's stuff of mine, and if I don't play it exactly the same, that's how you played it in Chantilly on August 1994.
So, first of all, I've been that guy myself, where I've absolutely.
By the way, that was not a criticism in any way. If there's anyone listening, that wasn't a criticism. Because I myself was a Pink Floyd anorak.
Yeah, and we only do it because we love it.
Well, exactly.
Yeah. So I do want to ask you one memory that I don't think a lot of people have talked to you about, and this is kind of specific to me, but I should roll back and say my first Floyd record was The Delicate Sound of Thunder, which was really the first record that you were really prominently featured on.
Yeah. Well, it's the first one I was on, yeah.
Yeah. And then I got to see you with Floyd here in Detroit on the 94 tour. And what was special about Detroit was that was the first time that you guys rolled out the entire Dark Side of the Moon, which became a big feature. Do you remember anything about the lead up to that? Like when it was time to go, okay, tonight's the night, you roll this out? Or
no, I don't. But I remember always being annoyed when we went to Detroit because we never went to Detroit.
Oh yeah, yep. You're about an hour north.
Yeah, and I mean, and I always wanted to go to Detroit.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah,
and we never did. You're always in these posh suburbs, and you end up just wandering around fucking Barneys. Like you could be anywhere.
What's funny is
the ghost of James Jameson, and Robocop.
Now I think that
you have 20 seconds to comply. I want that shit.
The last time you were in town with Nick, you would have been proper downtown Detroit when the Saucer Full of Secrets.
Yes, we were. And in fact, what was great because. We stayed in this casino.
Oh, nice. Yeah, we got 3 of them.
Yeah, it's always, and I don't think we even stayed the night. Or we had to leave very early. It's an absolute rule of thumb with the Saucers is that the nicer the hotel, the less time you're there.
Sure, yeah.
If we've got a really nice hotel, we're not staying the night.
Yeah, I walk in,
I remember
nice place.
Dom, and it was, the casino was great. And because Dom found, like, sort of the absolute holy grail of house record shops.
Oh, okay.
The corner.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's downtown is pretty good, and there's People's Records. If I was to guess, I mean, you probably don't remember the name of it, but if I was to guess, that's probably it. Yeah,
because I was there a few years ago. But I was doing a project for Ralph Williams. Jesus, I've forgotten Ralph's surname. How can I do that? The dementia has kicked in. Your legendary bass player. My friend! He played for Aretha and everyone.
Yes, absolutely.
I played on this record for him with all these Detroit legends. Guy who played trumpet on all the Motown records and stuff. And I loved Detroit. Although I felt really guilty at one point. He was showing me around the town, and I had a camera out, and I started taking pictures of all the ruined factories, and you suddenly that whole kind of ruined porn thing. And Ralph was like, "Man, don't."
Yeah.
I thought, I get it. I'm sorry. I don't want to be that arsehole.
Yeah, no, I hear you on that. Those of us here in the city were like really defensive about it because we are on the comeback, and like anybody would be. Did you get a chance to go and tour Hitsville, USA, while you were here and actually see Studio?
No, I did. I've been around twice now. I did actually. With the Saucers, we got a private tour.
Oh, nice.
And I've actually got a picture of me because I can't remember who I asked, but I asked someone to point out the exact spot where James Jameson had to lie on the floor to play What's Going On because he was too drunk to sit on a chair.
And so did you lay down in the spot? Or
I did lay down on that spot. Yeah, I got a picture. Yeah.
Fantastic. I was just talking to the gentleman that hooked us up as Will from the Limehouse podcast. Him and I were talking about how it's not lost on me that I can go out my front door right now, drive 20 minutes in my car, and stand in the same exact spot where that happened. Where Dancing in the Streets was recorded, and they decided whether or not ABC was going to be a hit, or it's just that vibe.
It is amazing, and because I don't think because Americans are always kind of surprised because we English kids are British kids. There was never the race to. I mean, Motown is absolute bread and butter to anyone who grew up. My son, anyone who grew up in the 60s. Motown is our shit. Really, And the funny thing is kind of that whole R&B thing is actually that's where all the rock bands were coming from.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I'm a bigger fan of a lot of the British material. Like I'm a huge champion of the Culture Club and like Roy Hay and Mikey Craig.
Okay.
Roy Hay and Mikey Craig. That's all Motown. They're
absolutely
riffing right on Motown. And so when I get a lot of people who only know the hits from Culture Club and I play some of the deeper cuts, they're like, oh, well, they're just doing Motown. I'm like, yeah, I know, because it's brilliant.
Oh, great players.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Your career is, just ridiculous. If a person goes to Wikipedia and looks at just the things that you've played on, it's stunning. Do you sometimes look back and think about that and just think, how did I play on all of this?
Oh, no, completely. I spent my entire life just with the biggest case of imposter syndrome fucking possible. It all seemed to be sort of happy accidents. I mean, I've never, because I just wanted to be in a band.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to be in a band. I never wanted to be that session guy. I never wanted to be that, and I certainly never felt qualified to be that guy. And the time when I was living in LA doing all that, and I got flown out to LA to play on this Madonna record, and then I just got asked to play on all this other stuff, and I said, just being around all these cats, and I was just thinking, and every day I'd just be like, what am I doing here?
Right.
I'm going to get found out any second now. It's like, I'm so much, I dress far too well to be this guy.
Yeah, you look in the mirror and you're like, how did we get here? Like, who is that? But
it's weird, and it's up and down. Yeah, no, it's just, it has been extraordinary. But it's also, the funny thing is that most musicians, and especially with CVs that might not be as impressive looking as mine, have probably worked a lot more than I have. Mm. I mean, the thing is, yes, I've done all this cool shit, but that's kind of all I've done. so there's actually an awful lot of time of not doing nothing. This is why, for me, say for most creative people, when the lockdown came and suddenly there was this whole thing of, oh my God, what do you do when you're at home? I'm like, well, same as you do for 70% of your life, isn't it? You just hang out, watch TV, surf.
Yeah, the only difference is you get to stay in a nice place for longer this time. You get to stay in a nice house. True. Instead of just from what you said earlier about the hotels, it sounds like pretty much if you turn on a nice TV and lay in a nice bed, that's when the text or the call is going to come. It's like, all right, we're getting on the bus and going. Yeah,
absolutely.
So I know that from what I've read about you and what I've known from being a longtime Floyd fan is your session work is all pretty much people taking care of you. Like, this person liked what you did and they pass it on, and that's pretty much, am I wrong? Is that the connection between?
No, that's it. Yeah, I mean that. Yes, it always tends to be very personal with me.
Mm-hmm.
And,
and that's how you ended up playing on Earth Song through playing on Like a Prayer, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that was it was Bill Bottrell.
Mm-hmm. And like a Earth Song,
it was actually although I mean Bill, I didn't really know, but Bill was engineering Like a Prayer, but then he produced the Toy Matinee album.
Okay,
so I'd had months in the studio with him, so that's where that came from. Yeah, because that came in the middle of doing the Robbie Robertson album. I mean, that really was what the fuck? What the fuck is some fucking Labrador Grove punk rocker doing? It's like
yeah, you're like,
I just feel bad because I think there were so many people who were so much more qualified who would have killed for that gig.
Sure,
I'm slightly blasé, but whatever.
No, and your work on Earth Song, what's interesting is I'm a big Michael Jackson fan, and I don't, with his material, I've never really looked a lot into who plays on what, and so years after that song came out, someone had mentioned to me, oh, well, that's Guy Pratt playing. You're a big Floyd guy. You didn't know that was Guy Pratt playing on Earth Song? I was like, no, I had no idea. And you didn't even know that you were on the final version.
Right. No, I'm not on it. I've forgotten about it. It was years before. Mm-hmm. No, someone called me up and said, you're on the new Michael Jackson record. I just really said, yeah. And they only knew because they stuck my name on the album.
Oh, okay. And you were like, how about that? Because you recorded it, six or so years before it came out, right?
Yeah, no, it was recorded in 89. It was in September or October 89. And yeah, it came out in 95, 96?
I want to say 95, yeah.
Yeah.
So, with so many music memories that you have, it's got to be hard to narrow it down to favorites. But do you have some moments, some things that I don't want to say more proud of, but some that stick out more to you than others, or no?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's the obvious ones like Venice, obviously with Pink Floyd.
Sure.
That was so nuts. And I actually didn't realize quite how insane that was until the day before when we rehearsed. I just knew we were playing in Venice and everything. And of course, I didn't realize that everyone else got up at 6 o'clock in the morning to go down and watch this stage being sailed in. Mm-hmm. I had no idea that was happening. I, of course, just gone out and gone pissed with mates, the night before.
Sure.
Woke up at 12 and everyone was showing me what would have been Polaroids back then, saying, "Man, look at this stage." I was like, "What, really?" So I tended to be a bit oblivious of stuff like that. So that was incredible. For me, Versailles, I don't know why, was incredibly special. We were the first people allowed to play the Palace of Versailles.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, that was the thing. There was because that was always when you're on, because you tended not to play Britain until the very end of the tour or near the end of the tour, and so Paris being so near, that was where all your friends and family came. Mm-hmm. So that was like the first time my mum got to see me play.
Oh, that's awesome!
So that
and
was,
it's in such a special venue, being allowed there.
It was extraordinary.
That's
the whole palace was lit up pink. That's actually the one thing that I've always found funny. With Pink Floyd is that, yes, the band is called Pink Floyd, but in terms of the actual sort of spectrum, it's the last colour you would associate with Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
If anything, they're a sort of battleship grey. and so duck egg blue or something.
At least from 70 to 73, the material was very battleship grey, yes.
Yeah, exactly. But everywhere you go, promoters are trying to do special stuff for you. So they're always fucking painting dressing rooms pink or giving you a pink bus. And you're just thinking, this is just so wrong. It's like we're promoting a shampoo or something.
Yeah, they're the two biggest things, and I'm sure you've seen both of these. That I always see that where people try and promote Pink Floyd with the color pink, and you're like, no, this is. And then just earlier today, actually, I was thumbing around YouTube and I saw some press kits from when A Momentary Lapse of Reason came out. And there was like just this local news in LA or something, and the anchor says, "Well, it's been a while, but Pink Floyd is back, and he's got a new album." And I was like, well, somebody didn't read all of their notes before they were supposed to go live on this, So
the funny thing is that because they just, it was such a different world, and the only reason they did any press at all was because on the first tour was that because it was David going out and Roger was going out as well, so it was the first time they ever had to become personalities, put forward any sort of front man or anything.
Sure.
Because we basically had this press girl whose job, she said when she asked Steve O'Rourke, the manager, what her job was, she said, well, you just say no.
Sure. Yep.
And she basically answered the phone all day to every newspaper, every TV station, everything. So, hi, can we go? No.
Yeah.
No.
Yep. Sure.
And all she was doing was just turning stuff down.
Yeah.
It was extraordinary.
Yeah. And your job was just at that time just to go along and play all the material and.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Completely. Yeah. I mean, I got it all wrong. I've always said that this. It's only sort of in later years you realise that as a musician you are hired to perform a function, to perform your duties and your job to the utmost of your abilities and to be available time. Whereas I always just thought I'd been asked to join the gang. And as long as I'm vaguely together for the gig, it's all great.
You're out there just putting your own spin on everything. And no, this is not okay. Am I not the man?
Well, it wasn't that. I mean, the material I took care of, but it was, it never occurred to me that kind of, yes, Ronnie Wood, it's cool if Ronnie Wood wants to stay up for 5 days on tour,
right?
He can. Me, not so much.
Yeah, absolutely. I as far as like you adding your own touch on things and whatnot, like I think it's so cool that, like you said, now it's evolved to where people hold you accountable to your own playing instead of what was played exactly before that. Yeah. I got to tell you, there was almost a near riot in my house. I almost flipped a table when the new version of Delicate Sound of Thunder came out, and your bass solo was gone.
I know. It's tricky, that one, because I always hated it and was kind of embarrassed about it. But it was actually, it was when I was writing my book. It was a friend of mine told me that apparently it's sort of revered by, of all things, the Brazilian jazz community in London.
Which is that not what you were aiming for?
I mean. And it's and you go on YouTube and it's a big thing and people learn it. Loads of people learn it, especially the Venice one. And so yes, obviously I was absolutely outraged, and I know exactly I know why David would do it, but it's but you just kind of think, well, it's what happened. It is what happened.
Yeah.
But, whatever, it doesn't matter.
I just was, ready to make a purchase and everything, and then it was released on streaming, and I texted a friend of mine who. For some reason couldn't care nearly as much as I did, but I was like, and they took Guy Pratt's bass solo out, Well,
apparently there's a few fills got edited out of things I think, on the Turning Away and stuff. I haven't actually listened to it, but that sort of annoys me. But I mean, to be fair, I was massively overplaying. I mean, I had everything against me. I was young. It was the 80s, So. I was clearly over. I mean, the funny thing is, like, the Source Full of Secrets live album is actually, it's just coming out this week, I think.
Is it this week or next week? It's either this Friday or next Friday.
Next week, I think.
Okay.
And that's coming. And for instance, I mean, when this gets re-released, I'd be really happy if they take the bass solo out from Green Is the Color.
Oh, really? Really?
Yeah, I don't like it.
Oh, I love that song, and I haven't heard that version yet. I'm actually the reason why I was expecting it to be next Friday is there's actually a Prince vinyl box set coming out, I think, the same day, and I'm pretty sure I'm the only person running to the record store to buy the Prince LP set and the Saucer Full of Secrets set at the same time.
Excellent.
But I love that song, and I haven't heard that yet. But you're already kind of face palming over that one. You don't want it in there.
Yeah. But the song is great. I mean, what's great about this, actually, the difference between this and all the Floyd stuff I've done is that that gig, what you hear, is just that gig,
right?
In terms of like where I'm going, oh shit, I did that. No, I didn't do that. No, it's like, but if any night you recorded would be like that. Every night is different,
right? Yeah,
much like the original Pink Floyd. It's everything is much more about the moment.
Yeah, and I'm
if you're
glad.
a fan, there are so many little musical gags as well.
Oh, good.
Which a few people have already spotted a few of them. We all, because Lee and I are both, Lee, Gary and I are all massive Who nuts.
Oh, okay.
Lee's a Clapton nut, and then Gary's got a massive Mick Ronson thing, and so and it just leaks out.
Yeah, yeah,
right.
And plus, you can be a little more liberal with that material too, because a lot of the stuff from say 67 to 72 isn't ingrained in the radio.
No, most of the stuff, a lot of the stuff we play has never been played before.
Mm-hmm. Fearless,
so we've got like complete,
Fearless
was never played live.
Yeah, I saw the Black Crowes cover Fearless before I ever heard a member of Pink Floyd.
With them.
With the Black Crowes?
Not live, only in a rehearsal room. I went to audition drummers with them. Yeah.
Oh, nice. That's great. This would have been a decade ago, but they kicked into the song without an intro. And my wife said, oh, this looks like one of the only songs you don't know so far. And I said, well, whatever it is, it's a ripoff of Fearless by Pink Floyd. And then Chris Robinson started singing, and I was like, oh, they're covering Fearless, which was fun. But, Guy, I did tell you that I would keep this brief, and I can't thank you enough for making time for us. I know it was hard for us to get our
that's fine.
schedules matched up. Really, the only other thing that I want to say to you on behalf of not just Floyd fans, Michael Jackson fans, Madonna, Icehouse, thank you for all the memories. Like, I know that you said you look in the mirror and you kind of feel like an imposter, but we appreciate everything that you've done to give us.
Really sweet. Thank you so much.
It is. Any person I know that says, I'm looking to dabble in Pink Floyd, I always tell, well, when I was 15, I got Delicate Sound of Thunder, and this was my Floyd, and that's you on there carrying that legacy on, and you're still doing it. So
thank you very much.
Thank you. My last question to close this out is, I know the answer to this is probably as soon as possible, but do you have any idea when you guys will be able to get back on the road doing anything?
The source. We were meant to be coming your way in October, November. That was booked. Fuck now. God knows, it's probably going to be Mad Max over there by then. It really is, man. I feel for you guys. I really do. I mean, we've got it's like we're all competing for the worst, most idiotic governments.
Don't even get me started on that.
I'm not going to go there. But
I will tell you this: I used to run a music forum, and I have because of that, I have friends all over the world, and almost every friend I have in another country says, if I didn't know you, I would assume every American is just insane. No, I promise we're not all as bad as the reality TV guy.
No, I know it's extraordinary, and I know that because I spend all my time, and I was traveling in America last year, and it's you're wonderful, good, generous, kind people, and so, and I just But listen, we're in the same boat. We got arseholes running shit here as well. So,
I know. I've seen your Twitter feed. I know. Yeah. I know how you feel about it.
We became a rogue state last night. They just passed this bill to break international law. So greetings from Somalia.
Yeah, well, I get the same vibe off of you that I try and live by too. It's like in some ways you have to laugh at this, or what else are you going to do? But in any case,
anyway,
go ahead.
But hopefully, I mean, the plan is to be there next year.
Great. All right. Well, we are, I'm sure you get this from every person who's ever heard Pink Floyd, but we are more than ready, and we will be happy to get back to, seeing you and Nick and everybody do what you do.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Well, come to, you're invited to Detroit, so.
Oh, right on. All right, brother. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Cheers, Russ. All the best, Cheers.
Thanks for listening. Remember to hit the like button, share this interview, and subscribe to the channel for a new vinyl video every Thursday. Also, make sure to find the Infectious Groove podcast on your favorite podcast provider and subscribe to the show.